Well, I have a slightly different way of looking at it.
I'll sell you some then.
Well, in my life, I try and avoid things that are stupid and evil and make me look bad in comparison with somebody else. And Bitcoin does all three. and in the first place, it's stupid because it's very likely to go to zero. The second place is evil because it undermines the Federal Reserve System and the national currency system, which we desperately need to maintain its integrity and government control and so on. And third, it makes us look foolish compared to the communist leader in China. He was smart enough to ban Bitcoin in China. And with all of our presumed advantages of civilization, we are a lot dumber than the communist leader in China.
Yeah, and when 25% of the people of the country get mad because we've said what we've said today, just remember Charlie spoke last and was the most... The one development that I really do think is actually important, but I don't know any way to do anything about it. But my general sense, and there's no way to prove it, but I essentially believe people are now behaving somewhat more tribal than they have for a long time. And, I mean, people are always going to be partisan, and they're going to have religious beliefs, they're going to have all kinds of things. But it gets pretty tribal. And I want to tell you, I speak from experience because I've been tribal. And, we're confessing today. Nebraska football is tribal. And when I watch a television set and I see our guys Nebraska step out of bounds by a foot, but somehow the ref misses it and calls it in, and then they show 6 replays, I'll continue to believe it was in, even though it's right in front of my eyes. They stepped out. That's tribal behavior. And it's fun. I mean, to participate in. But it can get very dangerous when one group of people say 2 + 2 is 5, and another say it's 2 + 2 is 3, and they're going to give you those answers if you call them. And the interesting thing is, to me, at least, and partly because of my age, but I actually think that, just from memory, that the last time that the country was seen as tribal was actually when I was a kid and Roosevelt was in. Either you hated Roosevelt or you loved him. I mean, nobody cared about the fact Alf Landon was running or Wendell Willkie was running against him. They just had these feelings. They either had Roosevelt's picture on the wall and named their kids after Roosevelt, or they hated him. And they thought he was going to, no third term, and, a million things. And the country was very, very tribal in the 30s, but Roosevelt's tribe was bigger. And in my opinion, they did some wonderful things, but I happened to grow up in a household where we didn't get served dessert until we said something nasty about Roosevelt. I mean, I'm speaking. And believe me, if you don't get dessert, you're going to say something nasty about Roosevelt. And so you train them young, and all kinds of things. And so I think I've seen a period that it wasn't that way when, if Eisenhower was running against Stevenson or whatever it might be. I mean, people, they had a partisan behavior, and they had a certain amount of tribal always, but I don't think it's a good development for society generally when people get tribal regardless. I mean,